Hey there, people. So today I've got a bit of a funny one for you. Friendly NPC drops, as in what your town NPCs and similar NPCs will drop and how to kill them so that you can take their stuff. So first I'm going to explain what you can get from which NPCs, and then we're going to have a little fun with creative murder to show you that how you can actually kill them, because normally you can't attack your NPCs. So first of all, only a few of the NPCs actually have drops. The town NPCs, friendly NPCs, 9 of them specifically on PC currently, only 3 on platforms that don't have the big update, and of course it's 8 on most of the other platforms that do, PS4 and Xbox One. They only have 8, PC has 9, and other platforms still only have 3. Of course, mobile will get more when the update comes. So NPCs, town NPCs, friendly NPCs can only take damage from enemies, traps, lava, drowning, and rotten eggs that you get from the Halloween event if you happen to be playing around Halloween or want to change your clock to trick it. Those rotten eggs will do 10 or 13 damage, but my experience is that they actually only do about 1 damage each, and we'll get to that. So it's difficult to intentionally kill most of your NPCs under normal circumstances, especially before rescuing the mechanic from the dungeon or getting the Goblin Tinkerer and buying the Tinkerer's Workshop. We'll get to why that is, but if you do manage to kill them, most of them will simply respawn the next day. Certain other ones may require meeting the original requirements all over again if you're not still meeting those requirements. And there's one that's kind of a funny one as well, but again, we'll get to that. So first of all, the guide. Here's our happy, friendly guide wandering around. Currently, I have a guy named Cody. So how do you kill him? Well, obviously, most of you know that you need to kill the guide using the guide Voodoo doll in order to summon the Wall of Flesh. But obviously you don't always want to summon the Wall of Flesh to try to get an item from the guide. The guide drops an item called the green cap, but on most platforms he will only drop the green cap if the guide's name is Andrew. This guy's name is not Andrew, so he's not going to drop that green cap for me. But you can kill him in various ways, but of course the easiest is to use the guide Voodoo doll. Even if you're not going to summon the Wall of Flesh, you can actually equip the guide Voodoo doll as an accessory, and that will allow you to actually kill him. You can then attack your guide and just kill him. And the guide actually respawns very easily, so if you do that like first thing in the morning, you'll basically have like a bunch of guides coming through, and that will give you a chance to get that item. It's still going to take a lot, honestly. I killed a lot of guides, and I still didn't get one named Andrew, so I just ended up basically putting this in my inventory. I kind of cheated on that. So I've got the green cap. That's what it looks like. Obviously, it's inspired by Mario Brothers, I would assume. This would be like Luigi's, but Andrew happens to be the first name of the guy who basically created Terraria as well. So that's where that all comes from. But as I say, that's on most platforms. If you happen to be on one of the old gen platforms, actually, like Xbox 360, PS3, or Wii U, any guide will actually drop that item. But on other platforms, only guides named Andrew. So keep that in mind. Yeah, and so equipping the guide Voodoo doll will allow you to kill the guides. There are also other methods of killing NPCs, which I will get to in a little bit. And yeah, so the next one that is available on all platforms, at least, because there's only 3, as I say, that are available on all platforms. In fact, they're all hats. So the other one, the second one, probably, well, it depends. It depends. The guide obviously is the first guy who's going to show up in your game, but you will need either to get some of the creative murder methods I'm going to explain later, or get the guide Voodoo doll to kill him. The Clothier, of course, shows up a bit later, and the other one is the Traveling Merchant. So let's talk about the Clothier, because I've got him here. The Clothier, of course, becomes, yeah, you can see actually, it's still, I guess it's still daytime, so I actually got another guide already. So you can actually just keep killing them all day and more will come. But yeah, the Clothier, after you defeat Skeletron, the Clothier NPC will spawn. And he's still related to Skeletron in that you can also get a Clothier Voodoo doll. It's a very low chance, actually. It's not a very, very low chance. If you spend a lot of time in the dungeon, you'll probably get one eventually. It's a 1 in 300 chance drop from Angry Bones or Dark Casters in the dungeon. So if you spend enough time, you'll probably get a Clothier Voodoo doll as well. You can, of course, use the other methods that I will get to kill the Clothier, but the Clothier Voodoo doll will make it a lot easier. And basically, if you destroy the Voodoo doll, it will not kill him or summon Skeletron, unlike the guide Voodoo doll, but equipping it will let you kill him. If you kill him, you will summon Skeletron again. I'm not sure if it has to be nighttime for that to happen, but if you equip it, you can kill him, and he will always actually drop his item. His item is the red hat. But depending maybe on the time of day, I'm not sure, or maybe it just happens all the time, when you kill him, it will summon Skeletron. So actually, you know what? Let's just try it, because it's not quite officially nighttime. Let's see if we get Skeletron. No, I guess not. So I guess it has to be nighttime. I don't really want to fight Skeletron anyway. So that answers that question. And yeah, immediately another one respawned because it's still daytime as well. So, but keep in mind, if you do that at night, you'll probably end up summoning Skeletron, and you'll have to fight him. Now, that is a good way to make money as well. You can sell the hat, you can get some gold for fighting Skeletron. But the item that he gives you is this red hat, and there you go. It's red if I don't have a die in my die slot. And of course, the hats you can dye as well. And the other one that is available on all platforms, again, they are all hats, is the Peddlers Hat from the Traveling Merchant. Now, you'll have to get a little more creative to kill your Traveling Merchant. But basically, it's the same, well, it's nighttime now, so that just disappeared, but I think you got a glimpse of it. It looks like this over here. It's the same hat that the Traveling Merchant wears, and you can get that hat by killing your Traveling Merchant. Now, let's get on to the other ones, and I've trapped them all in nice little cozy houses where we're going to, yeah, and you can see actually I picked up another red hat for killing the Clothier again. That's actually my third one, and I did get those all legitimately. So these are the other 6 that if you're on a platform that's updated, these guys will all drop something as well. So, and these are a little more useful, arguably. I mean, obviously you want to look good with a nice hat, but some of these are actually useful early in the game. So these are available on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 as of now. Will be coming to mobile, presumably. The Die Trader will actually drop a sword. So you can get the Die Trader very early in the game, and that sword is pretty decent. It's one way to get a decent sword fairly early in the game. It's this exotic scimitar. It has a base of 23 melee damage. So I've already put that in one of my slots. If you get this early in the game, that's going to give you a nice little boost, and that's actually a reason to do all this. If you were wondering what's the point and why is this other than to get some hats and stuff, you can actually get this sword pretty early in the game. You know, I went over how to get your Die Trader in my NPCs guide, so you can get him quite early. He could even be your first NPC other than the guide, and all you need to do is find a way to kill him, and you can get this sword. So I'm going to get into some creative ways to kill these NPCs in a second, but I'm going to tell you about the other things you can get first. So the Stylist also will drop stylish scissors. Oh, and I should mention, these ones are not guaranteed. All those hats from the ones that are available on all platforms, it's 100% chance. Again, with the guide, it has to be a guy named Andrew on most platforms, but otherwise it's 100% chance. These ones are not, actually. So these are mostly 1 in 8. So that scimitar from the Die Trader and the stylish scissors from the Stylist are both 1 in 8 chance. So you may have to kill them a bunch of times before you get one. And that is your chance. It might take you more than 8. It might take you less than 8. But that's how it works. So the stylish scissors, it's actually a base of 14 damage, but they swing faster. So I'll just give you a quick comparison here. And I guess I should zoom in for the purpose of that. So you can see these are not auto swing, actually. Neither one of these are auto swing, which is kind of weird. So you'll need to click a lot or tap a lot or whatever. But you can see how that is, and it does more damage. But this one obviously swings very, very fast, the stylish scissors. So it's lower damage, but swings faster. So you can't really get the Stylist quite as early, although if you go exploring enough web spider caves. Maybe you will. But yeah, I guess you can get that early enough if you go searching. Another one, actually, and this one might even be the most useful of all, but again, this is going to be a little bit later probably than both of those. You can get a paintball gun from killing the painter. So we've got Luciano the painter. This paintball gun is pretty good, actually. It's not like a huge damage. The paintball gun does only 12 range damage by default. Mine, obviously, with my ranged accessories is going to do more, but it's a base of 12 damage, but it fires, as you can see, that's a single shot. That's a 3-shot burst. You hit once, it fires a 3-shot burst. It likewise is not auto fire, but 3-shot bursts, 12 base damage, and it does not use any ammo, which makes it particularly useful early on when you might not have a lot of ammo. So if you get your painter, you know, if you feel like it, you could murder him. And if you murder him, you know, you might get lucky the first time, or you might have to keep murdering him. But if you murder him enough, you will get this weapon. And early in the game, that can be very useful. On the slightly less useful side is the party girl here. Oh yeah, and it's a 1 in 10 chance, actually, of getting that paintball gun from the painter. The party girl, you have a 1 in 4 chance when you kill her of getting happy grenades. And you'll get anywhere between 30 and 60 of those when you actually do that. Now, interesting thing about that, I've got some in my inventory here. I've got 41 party grenades. If I go and talk to her, having murdered one of her predecessors, she will now, she's supposed to sell me more, actually. There we go, yep. Happy grenade. And she will sell you more for 2 silver and 50 copper, which is actually really expensive. And the grenades actually do half as much damage as regular grenades. So this is not that useful, but they are kind of funny. Maybe I need to zoom out now. There we go. As you can see, they explode into confetti when, well, they explode. So it's kind of funny, but they do half as much damage as normal grenades, and they cost way more, so it's not that useful. But there you go. You have a 1 in 4 chance. The thing about the party girl, she does not automatically respawn the next day. She will spawn sort of at random. So there's like a certain chance each day of her spawning, and that carries over after she's been killed. There's that certain chance again, so don't count on her respawning quickly. But, you know, what the heck, it's not that useful of a thing anyway. And I did get that legitimately, by the way. I actually got really lucky the first time I killed her. So moving right along, the other one that all of you on the updated platforms will have is the tax collector. And when you kill the tax collector, you have a 1 in 8 chance of getting the classy cane. Now, again, this is actually less useful because it doesn't do that much damage, as you can see. It swings reasonably fast, but you can't actually get the tax collector until you're in hard mode. It's literally like right after you defeat the wall of flesh, it's possible to get the tax collector. You know, this very low damage weapon is not going to be that useful. It's a 1 in 8 chance when you kill him. He only exists on the updated platforms as well. So there you go. That's that's something else you can get anyway. Now the Tavern Keep, this one's kind of funny. Tavern Keep you can get fairly early in the game. Tavern Keep is still PC only. He does not exist on any other platform as of now because he came basically alongside the Old Ones Army event. When you kill the Tavern Keep, or when he gets killed, you don't have to murder them yourselves. You might get these when they happen to be killed. It's a 1 in 8 chance of getting the Ale Tosser, and it's this little glove here. It actually does decent damage because you can get this early, and the only reason I'm leaving this one to last is because it is PC only. It's a base of 20 throwing damage, so this actually counts for your throwing class. If you're trying to do you know, some sort of challenge with a throwing class, this might actually be very useful. And you can find the Tavern Keep fairly early in the game, so again, this is one of those, if you're on PC, or if this comes to other platforms later, that can actually be pretty useful. The only thing is that it does actually use ale as ammo, and yet you cannot currently put ale in your ammo slots, so you actually have to keep some ale in your inventory. All you need is glass at a keg to get ale. It magically appears then. So actually, it's a mug, sorry. You need a mug, and you can fill it at the keg with ale, because the keg apparently has infinite ale. I'm sorry about my voice. I'm a little sick right now. But you can see it throws mugs of ale. and it does actually use ammo from that little stack of ale. So it's kind of funny. It's a funny little item, and it can actually be useful if you want to murder, or if you happen to have your Tavern Keep murdered or killed by some enemy. So as I say, let's get to how to murder them and how they can be killed. Obviously, they can be killed by enemies. A great way to have all of your town NPCs killed is to spawn the destroyer in your town. I found that out the accidental hard way, but because of course the destroyer will slink around as a giant snake and it will kill everybody basically. That's just a kind of a joke, but any enemies can actually kill these guys. So one thing that I set up that's kind of funny for my Tavern Keep here, I set up a crab statue on a timer. And this is why having the mechanic comes in handy, because you can set up traps and stuff on wires. And that's actually what I did. I just set up a timer, I wired it to the statue, and infinite crabs, death by crabs. That's obviously going to take a very long time. I also wired up some spiky ball traps for the tax collector. That's actually much more effective. I tried dart traps, but the spiky balls are way more effective. You could probably use a more useful enemy statue like the skeleton statue in place of that. But honestly, the statue thing is probably not going to be that useful. If you trap them in with enemies, they are going to fight the enemies. So that's kind of a thing too. So using enemies is not actually the most effective thing. But actually a really effective thing you can do fairly early in the game, which has been shown by others, is a boulder. This is not going to be as effective as it can be, because the boulder actually is most useful in a wide horizontal space. I just wanted to trap these NPCs in here, but you can roll that boulder, and obviously like each hit does a lot of damage. If you put them in a wide horizontal space and roll a boulder, you just hit it with your drill, place it down and then hit it with your drill. That'll get it rolling. If it's in a wide horizontal space, it's going to do a lot of damage, and it'll probably kill them just like that. As I say though, you can also use eggs. So you know, if I wanted to finish her off, I can pop in here and I can use these rotten eggs. But honestly, the rotten eggs kind of take forever. You can see they only do about 1 damage effectively each anyway. So I actually did do this earlier, and it takes a long time. So rotten eggs are also not the recommended method. By the way, boulders are crafted at your Tinkerer's Workshop. So again, that's why I mentioned the Tinkerer's Workshop. Mechanic and Tinkerer's Workshop are necessary for those methods that I showed. But don't worry, there are more. There are some methods that you can use very early in the game. Lava bucket is one thing I came up with. Again, probably not the thing you can do like right away early in the game. You can, you know, craft a bucket and go down to the underworld and fill it with lava and just dump that in an NPC house like this. And, you know, that's a way of killing them as well. Oh, I got another paintball gun. So that does work. Most of the items will not be destroyed by lava. There are exceptions to that. Most of the hats actually will be. Or is it the hats? Let's see, I made a note of that. Yeah, the red hat and the Peddler's Hat. So don't use lava to kill your Clothier or your traveling merchant, because you lose the hat. And also in here, I lost the workbench as well, you might notice. Because basically how lava works is that it's based on item rarity. So most of the items are blue rarity and above, which is sufficient to protect them from being destroyed by lava. But you can see actually the red hat, well, it's in the description here. Just the fact that red hat is in white, it's considered white rarity. And it's the same with the Peddler's Hat. Whereas these are, you can see when you select them or mouse over them, the letters are written in blue. So if it's blue or green, it's not going to be destroyed. But if it's white, it is going to be destroyed. Anything actually below blue, there's a ranking. Anyway, so keep that in mind. Now, what I found probably the easiest thing to do early on, and I've saved this for the guide here, or sorry, the dye trader, because he's a guy you might want to murder early on, because he's one you can get early on. You'll notice this pit of water, and so basically I built these houses just above the ground, and then I dug this nice little hole and I filled it with water. I happen to have an endless water bucket, but you don't need that. You can just drain some water into a hole below a house, and then just, you know, take the floor out from under him. And basically what's going to happen is after a while he's going to drown. And so that's a very effective way of murdering your NPCs. And if you're really lucky, the dye trader might give you an exotic scimitar, which is going to be really useful early in the game. And if you're not so lucky, you can just let him respawn, keep a strange plant in your inventory maybe. And there you see. That's probably the most effective thing you can do early in the game. Because you can do that anytime. You don't need any special equipment for that. Just drop them into some water, let them drown. And so there you go. That's what everybody drops, and how you can get them to drop that by killing them. Or, you know, just if your NPCs are getting killed by enemies often enough, you might get these things anyway. But hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.